people do really respond in a positive manner. A lot of people, not everyone,
Well, that's what
to the
makes it
idea.
interesting because you give all of this information on the actual building of the pyramid,
Right.
the
That's
how
almost
to's.
the mystery of the ages. A lot of people, when you ask them, well, how was the Great Pyramid built? They'll tell you about pharaohs or about gods or about religion or language or hieroglyphs. But what I do is focus on a technical aspects of a construction project, and to me, that's interesting. Other people have different interests, like what type of hat the pharaoh wore, or clothing, or battles. So everyone has a different focus, and the focus I have is on actually quite a technical level.
You think? says she who worked her way through the books. But I will say that if somebody has questions, there's a video series on thepump.org that will get you there. You can look at that, read the books, and you'll understand where Stephen's coming from with this. It's just not an impossibility. But what is the hardest thing in your experience to get people to accept relevant to this?
Well, the hardest thing is for somebody who already thinks they're committed to an idea that they think is correct, to question that idea and then replace it with a better idea. That's the hardest thing for humans to do. And people already think, oh, well, they just built a big ramp and they had big back muscles. Well, if that's what you think, a lot of people can't transcend what they already think is true, even when given different types of evidence. So that's the hardest thing. And all I ask people to do is to at least become familiar with the direction of research and then contemplate the information in my books. Both of my books are available as Kindle ebooks, so people could read them right away.
Well, I I would strongly suggest anyone read those. Both of them. The lost technologies first. But
Yes.
it's really neat because I don't know how open are Egyptologists. Have you spoken with people like in the Department of Antiquities in Egypt or anyone who was an Egyptologist who was open to this?
Well, certainly my information is available for peer review because it's a book they can read
Right?
if they read books. But my experience, I've been doing this for quite a while, like 25 years. There's essentially a wall of silence. They won't even say that my research is incorrect. They won't even say it. So that's where they're at. But most Egyptologists, the largest stone they've ever moved is the one in their kidney. You
Oh,
know,
that was
you know the
good.
difference. You know the difference between an Egyptologist and a grave robber?
I do not.
One has a college education and the other one don't.
Ah.
So Egyptology, its genesis started from people robbing graves,
Well,
and then
that's a fact because they were seeking the treasures that were buried with the pharaohs and on down through the hierarchy.
right, they would steal stuff out of people's tombs and then sell it to museums. So interested patrons can make their donations and they can sell ticket sales. That's the what Egyptology is from, if you will. So, but now the whole process is much more genteel. They get a they pay a fee and they're sponsored by a university or a museum to do their dig, but they still take stuff out of people's graves, put it in museums for people to buy tickets. So it's and they don't. Egyptology does not engage in the scientific method. They've never made any type of precision stone cutting using hand tools. The reason being is their story is incorrect. It can't be done. And they don't move heavy payloads or anything like that. So they're just storytellers. And in fact, Egyptology is a science that is now in crisis because they tell these stories generation after generation about the big ramp and all of that, but no demonstrations are forthcoming. Egyptology is the only science that abhors the scientific method. So it's a science that is either going to change or go away. Sciences do come and go.
Well, that's true. I'm a paranormal investigator, and parapsychology is a real thing that has only fairly recently been recognized. So I would agree with that. But as far as Egyptology, I want to touch on that again, if you don't mind. We've got a couple of minutes before our break. But
sure.
When you say that they don't follow scientific method, there is a method to archaeology. There are rules that you have to follow. There are methods in place to do this accurately without damage to the artifacts. I, for one, do not mind that people are doing this and putting stuff in museums that I can go and pay my $10 and go through.
Oh, certainly. I know that.
It's not a science as much. Egyptology is a profession and a field of study as opposed to a science. The archaeology and the carbon dating and such as that are where the science side comes in, right? What other science do you feel should be applied?
Yeah, there's certainly scientific procedures need to be followed, but Egyptologists say people drug a 70-ton payload up a ramp without handling scars. That's a hypothesis.
That is a hypothesis.
So what Egyptologists needs to do if they want to be involved in the scientific method is to provide a demonstration that shows how that's done. But what Egyptology does is they drag around stones that don't weigh 70 tons, but weigh 1.5 tons. And then they drag them several feet and they say that's how it's done. That is just like me saying I can go out into the driveway and pick up a full-size car just by myself. Just grab it and pick it up. Okay? I will demonstrate it by using a Hot Wheels. I'll pick up a Hot Wheels.
Well played. Yes.
It's just farcical. They also, Egyptology presents a hypothesis that precision stone cutting was accomplished using hand tools. Yet, in the 200 years of the existence of Egyptology, they have never made a precision cut stone like a casing stone. They're cut really precise.
Yes, they are.
So they tell this story, but then there's no demonstration. It's like, let's say I was a cow jump over the moon-ologist and told you all about cows jumping over the moon, and how they land without breaking their legs and everything. And then somebody comes up and says, hey, can you demonstrate cows jumping over the moon? Well, it's in literature and it's all written down. You can read stories about it from ancient times. Yeah, but can you demonstrate it? Like use the scientific method? And then I would say, get out of here, kid. You're bothering me. And Egyptology is just that farcical in regards to talking about the pyramids. Egyptology is the mindset of robbing graves. So if you come up with you come across a pyramid, that was a tomb for a pharaoh or whatever. And the reason why there's no treasure in the pyramids, ancient times, people stole all the stuff out before we could steal it in modern times. I mean, that's Egyptology. The richest science in the world, yet they can't demonstrate what they say working people did all day long.
Interesting.
It is. And people don't put up with it anymore. I don't know anyone that's past the 8th grade that believes Doriite pounders can produce precision stone cutting, yet they teach it in the 21st century in universities.
There's,
shame
I said,
on those universities.
Well, shame on those universities for a lot of things they're teaching, or not.
I agree.
That, those who don't know history are condemned to repeat it. But as I said, I'm married to a machinist. I agree with you that if those stones were ostensibly cut in that method, show me. Do one.
Right. I could go up to your husband and say, on a lathe, you can't make a round cylinder. And he wouldn't tell me a story.
No.
Or tell me about the book he's written. He would run over to his lathe and make one and make me look like an idiot.
Make it beautifully because he's a great machinist. Just putting it out there.
But these alternative researchers around the globe have a common enemy, if you will, Egyptology. We all say it can't be done using hand tools, precision stone cutting. All Egyptology has to do is engage in the scientific method and shut us all up. But they won't do it because it literally can't be done. They're wrong. It cannot be done. So it's just an interesting paradox that we're in the 21st century.
What do you make? We've only got a minute. I'm going to have to ask you this when we come back because this is more than a minute. So,
okay.
But remind me, because this is relevant to the H blocks that we were talking about in Peru and things of that nature. But with that being said, guys, this is going to be our final break. We're going to come back for our final segment with Stephen Myers, and we are going to get some answers, hopefully, and just continue the conversation. I hope y'all are enjoying this as much as I am. This is a fascinating topic to me, the Great Pyramid as a water pump. But we'll be back. Y'all enjoy, and we will see you in just a moment.
You are listening to WPHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk radio.